Oh no, that was. Greetings and salutations. Tonight on Monday Night Football, we shall be discussing the following topic. Bielsa has left Leeds. Have we potentially seen what would happen if Pep Guardiola wasn't managing one of the big dogs? Or is it simply a case of Bielsa time was up and it was time to move on? Also, Liverpool are the latest team that are in the running for the unprecedented quadruple. Is the quadruple even possible, or is it simply too much for one team to do in one season? Politics. Should footballers get involved? Should they just simply concentrate on football so they can get out of their sport, or should they use their influence to try and make the world simpler a better place? Join us at 9:30. We shall be going live on Facebook and Twitch. Join the conversation, get involved, opinion, and we'll see you at 9:30. Greetings and salutations. Tonight on Monday Night Football, we shall be discussing the following topic. Bielsa has left Leeds. Have we potentially seen what would happen if Pep Guardiola wasn't managing one of the big dogs? Or is it simply a case of Bielsa time was up and it was time to move on? Also, Liverpool are the latest team that are in the running for the unprecedented quadruple. Is the quadruple even possible, or is it simply too much for one team to do in one season? Also, footballers and politics. Should footballers get involved in politics? Should they just simply concentrate on football so they can get the magma out of their sport? Or should they use their influence to try and make the world simpler, a better place? Join us at now. We're going live on Facebook and Twitch. Join the convo, give us your opinion, and we'll see you. Greetings and salutations. Tonight on Monday Night Football, we shall be discussing the following topic. Bielsa has left Leeds. Have we potentially seen what would happen if Pep Guardiola wasn't managing one of the big dogs? Or is it simply a case of Okay, guys, greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Monday Night Football Banter Chat with your host DJ Infa, alongside our resident co-host, Mr. Lee Wisdom, Mr. Lane Wisdom. The universe has resumed to balance. We've got rid of the Liverpool Scousers from last week, even though one might return. So yes, we are. As for those that are new to the show, this is how the show works. We have some predetermined topics that we are going to discuss. We are going to discuss the Leeds situation with Bielsa leaving. We're going to discuss footballers involved in politics, and we are going to discuss Liverpool's potential quadruple. Is it possible? How good a chance do they have? Etc. etc. And we shall be discussing anything else that gets that flies up in the chat. But before we get into all that, Mr. Wisdom and Mr. Wisdom, did you see the ridiculous, the scandalous boxing decision at the weekend?
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, well, I think, thinking back, I think it was closer than I scored it.
Yeah.
Initially.
Yeah.
But it still wasn't close enough for that score, if that makes sense. I mean, it's like, to me, unless the boxing world gives him an opportunity to fight someone his next fight for the undisputed, because Josh Taylor's stepping up,
Yeah.
he'll never have the opportunity again. I genuinely don't think he'll ever have the opportunity again. And I said, I think after about round 7 or 8,
Yeah.
I said we're going to get a Vegas decision. I felt it. So how many thousand screaming Scottish fans in there? Whole crowd, undisputed champion. You've literally got to knock them cold out to get it, but that don't make it right. But then when you got the point deducted, Taylor.
Yeah.
Even then I thought this can't be a Vegas decision, but I weren't surprised. It's heartbreaking for a kid.
Do you think, conspiracy-wise, do you think somebody got bullied into making a decision, or I don't know, or was Hamsterly paid off? What's your thoughts, Lane?
I don't know, because the judges, they're well-known guys. You know what I mean? They're actually all right referees when they're when they're the man in the ring. I don't get how they could have had it as wide as they had it.
Yeah.
I agree with Lee a bit. I think it probably was closer than we thought. I think it's just because I just expected Taylor to just blow him away.
Yeah.
But I think because that didn't happen, you sort of start seeing everything that the underdog's doing more than you see a favourite doing. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's probably why. But yeah, I definitely think Cattrall won it.
Mr. Forbes.
I didn't watch it.
No. I'm just gonna obviously welcome you to the panel. I did say just before you came in that the universe had found balance, but the Liverpool representation is back. So, welcome to the panel. Junior football. Did your team play this weekend, Nave?
Lane's team yesterday.
Oh, did ya?
Yeah.
Friendly or league match?
No, league match.
Okay. So we're going.
Well, Lane got videos, so we were good to be fair. We beat him 4-5-4. But it was, yeah. It's like, I don't know. I hate them games, to be honest. I hate when it's like that. Like, what was it? We won it for about 5 minutes.
Not even that, it was a couple of minutes, yeah.
Minutes later, they were 1 up. 5 minutes after that, they were 3-1 up. And we scored a shot half time, I think.
Yeah, he scored just before half time. I think that swung it for you, though.
Yeah, and then we come out, it's got 3 actually, didn't we? Maybe 5-3, didn't we? Yeah, and then they won about 5 minutes to go. But they were like, they were 5-4, but it could have been 15-14, to be honest. We had a good game.
Okay, so for those that don't know, obviously Lane coaches Junior Blades and Nath coaches Handsworth. Is it under 11s or under 10s you guys have got?
11s.
Under 11s, okay. So are you looking forward to next season when they go? Oh no, that's already 9v9, isn't it?
Yeah.
How did you find coaching them the offside? Did they pick it up straight away? Was it a struggle? How did they adapt?
To be honest, with how we play, it weren't that hard.
You push them up anyway?
I'm not going to keep trying that, but before it,
Yeah.
I always play like loads of like the season before, we played loads of penalties, probably 5, 6, 7, 8 games.
Okay.
In the break. But the way we play is quite tight and knit. Don't really have. We miss runners. You know what I mean? That's where we lack. Our in behind is like a player like wide and they're like our runners. So with those equipment,
Can I ask you a question? Somebody who's to free football coaches, and something that's just come to my mind. Is teaching the kids offside rule easier today when they've got things like FIFA, what just automatically kind of shows them what's going on, whereas back in the day we literally had to learn it? Do you feel football games have helped, or do you think it's had no impact whatsoever, or a little impact? Just something that's come to my mind now. I was just wondering.
Go on, Lane.
When I started,
Yeah, go on.
our manager had to sit down and explain it to us.
Yeah, I don't know about Lane, but I've literally never done what's involved offside. I think maybe we'll try to come out with a one-on-one with him, but just in general, no, they know it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I just say yeah, as well. Because I never had a session where I said, right, this is offside, or looks like you're offside, and when they're offside, they usually no way. So if someone says no way, it's not next. So what about Lane? Lane might be, but I don't know.
We've not done all specific to offside. We've done a bit of shape, but at 10-year-old, you don't want to do too much of that because it starts getting a bit boring for him, doesn't it?
Well, I do.
But yeah, we've done a bit of that, and then sort of explaining part of that session is explaining to the centre half like if you step up here as the ball's being played and stuff, that's how you're going to play them offside. So I think our defence, we probably play the best offside line in our league, given that we've only been doing it 6 months. But because you've only got one guy in the middle, we get caught a lot with it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Where the referee can't see that it's offside. Probably would be. So, but I just think going forward, it's something they're going to have to learn as pitch gets bigger anyway, ain't it? But
Gary's usually lies, you know. Jesus. Everything is ridiculous. I think that comes and asks me. I'm like, I don't say I go away. I don't say for us or against us. I just leave it.
Shout out to Mackie. I think the only way we'll ever get Mackie on this stream is if Spurs win the league. But other than that, Gaddy, yeah, not Mackie. The only way we get Gaddy on is if we win the league. But yeah, shout out to Mackie, one of the football banter man, an official referee. So shout out to Mackie as well. He jumps in the show sometimes. So yeah, guys, let's get into it. Those that are watching live on Facebook, those that are watching on YouTube, those that are watching on Twitch, drop some comments in the chat. Obviously, we'll shout you out. We'll make you a part of the show, and we'll get you involved in the topics and the questions as well. So any question that I ask our three panelists, Lee, Lane, and Nathan, obviously feel free to answer yourselves as well in the chat, and we will get your opinions and bring you into the make you part of the show, basically, in a nutshell. So, okay, right, guys. First topic first. We are peaking. We'll turn down the volume a bit because it looks like we are. Don't want to be chipping out. First topic first. We shall talk about Bielsa at Leeds. So, guys, I'll come to Nathan, being our newbie. I'll come to you first. What's your opinion on Bielsa as a coach, and in terms of his reputation, and the question that I'm personally asking, because people ask this all the time, or how would Mourinho do it such and such, or how would Guardiola do it such and such? Have we seen with Bielsa what would potentially happen if Pep Guardiola was to take a team that is not in the top bracket, creme de la creme? What's your opinion on that?
In terms of your personal question, no.
Okay.
Because I think Bielsa's been good. I think he's a top coach, but Pep would never go Premiership. Man, Mark, 3 games in, felt it work, he smiles. He would best coach on that. The way they play is ridiculous. Like for me, I think what he's done, like while he did it, done brilliant. I don't think he should be sacked, by the way. But what he's done, and his reputation, I think, is a bit too. Not reputation, when we go off his genius and all this. That's way overboard for me. I don't know. I think wherever Pep goes, I'm not going to say league Leeds, but better. I mean, I went in the better. Do the same, they get battered every week. Like, with man Mark, but no one gets near anyone, and they've got no shape. So it's like would be me and Lane, for instance, to say, get onto him, might have a bad touch. But in Prem players, they don't really have bad touches. Do you know what I mean? It's so hard to get that close to people that often. You know what I mean? You don't see 6 players that are bad touch. For me, it's just the way he plays bonkers when I watch him.
See, you're not a fan of the style then, by the sounds of it.
I like the style, but it's the man marking thing. Like, you can't not have shape.
You do. Well, I'm not saying you do know, but you have said that you adjusted anyway. But I remember when Pep was at Bayern and they had Barca in the knockout stage, and he did that. He went man for man for man for man. I can't. Go on.
If it didn't work, he wouldn't do it. Keep on doing it.
Persist, yeah.
You know what I mean? He would just keep on doing it and doing it.
That's my only problem with Bielsa is not only just the lack of plan B, the lack of willingness to change. Like you say, it was all right last year when it was quite new, and people weren't really sure how to take it. But now quite a few teams have worked it out. You've got to adapt. The football, like a lot of things in life, is constantly changing, constantly getting better, or not after last week's conversation. But you've got to be able to change and got to be a lot more adaptable. and I just think that him being so stubborn to change is what's really affected him a lot. I think one thing that's not been spoken about a lot as well, though, is the players that he's had out. I think Calvin Phillips and Patrick Bamford are massive misses for a team like Leeds, who haven't got a big squad full of quality as well. So we have to take that into some consideration. But at the same time, if your big players are out, you've got to then change how you play to sort of just tread water at the very least. You can't be going getting battered 6 and 7 every week.
Lee, I see you nodding a lot, and you agree with Nathan and Lane?
Yeah, I think you were a breath of fresh air. I think Nathan's it. You know, I do a little bit like when Wilder, the Sheffield United come. A lot of teams didn't know what hit them. It's not something they'd seen before. They didn't quite adjust to it. Sheffield United went on a good run. Leeds did well last season as well. But I just think you know, the best coaches in the world will adapt. The most successful coaches in the world will adapt. That's obviously, I'm not saying Leeds are ever going to win Premier League or get to Champions League or whatever, but the Premier League is an unfigurable league, probably more than a lot of the other teams, a lot of the other top leagues around Europe. It's unforgiving. You know, remember that was it Hull? What one season they were like in 7th or 8th for Christmas and ended up getting relegated. It don't take much in Premier League to go from there to there. And I just think when you've got such a blinkered way of playing, you know, if you're getting hammered, common sense is going to tell you you've got to change it because it's unforgiving. You know, look, again, talking about Wilder, did really, really well. He did really, really well. And he tried to keep the same thing going, and it just wasn't working. And you know, you've got in the Premier League, no disrespect to Leeds, no disrespect to Sheffield United, both your teams, but you've got top footballers, you've got top coaches, and they're a little bit like Mayweather. Mayweather loses 3 rounds, and then once he's worked you out, he's winning the other 9 comfortably. You know, and if they can't adapt, the Premier League teams will adapt and just deal with him. And I think that's just what's happened.
Okay.
Mackie's saying you're a bit quiet, Forbes.
I am.
Yeah, Mackie's saying.
He's saying you as well. Let me just check the Zoom setting, see if I can boost your guys' audio. Camera. Oh no, info, you pressed the wrong button. Alright, I'm just gonna, let's have a look at the speaker settings and see if we can improve. Audio settings. Yeah, it's kind of loud on my side. One of you guys speak, let me just see something.
Yo, is that alright?
No, it's not coming through actually. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to do. Let me switch from my phone. Let me switch from my phone. Yeah, the Zoom. I think the Zoom's putting out a different audio than the Twitch. Yeah, one of you guys says something. Let me hear.
I've seen AFL radio Leeds continued. We record 19 goals in 1 month.
Yeah. Wow. 28 game month as well.
Literally, game a week, we've got 19 goals. Yeah.
It was frightening. And do you know what it was? You know, any team can concede goals. You know when Barcelona just seemed to score that same goal all the time where you just got the ball, played it inside, chipped it over, Dani Alves crossed it and somebody tapped it in. Barcelona in 2 seasons must have scored about 150 of those goals. It just seems like when you turn away and watch the television, you have to check the score to know that the score's changed because all the goals just seem to be the same. You don't seem to be no. I watched Tottenham game. I watched the Man U game. other game I watched?
Played, Italy.
They played Tottenham on
Spurs,
Saturday,
yeah. Well, Italy, the two I watched, like what in my head, it was against Spurs, and I just thought, like, how's it 3?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, you've got a normal field. Oh,
Yeah.
right. Like, it's just bonkers. Like, when I watch it, I just think, like, ugh, I just couldn't even. And things that, for me as well, I don't get it. Like, when I watch it, that Man U food's something brilliant. But when I watch them, I can sort of see a bit what they're trying to do a bit. Whereas with them, I just see, like, they win ball back, Ailing's gone, they're all just gone. Like, you have no system in field instead of protection, all just gone. Instead of it's a making field man running, all 3 of them, you're just like, Rafinha's not been getting in. Like, he's their best player by miles.
And the thing is as well, they conceded all the goals. And I think goalkeepers be man at match for most of the games. So,
He's not great though, to be fair. He's not 14, yeah.
So it's kind of like, if you're getting 20 goals put past you, or 19 goals put past you in 28 days, and your goalkeeper's been man at matching 3 of them games, it could have been close to 30. that's
Being kept busy.
Everybody else's style.
What? Let me just.
It's sad, but I think they would have gone down if he stayed. Like,
Let me ask this. Obviously, playing devil's advocate. If you knew, Nathan, that your current crop of players were going to play 100 games, just for the sake of a number, in fact, no, 1,000 games, we'll say 1,000 football matches, and for 1,000 matches they would play the exact same way, come what may, you knew at 999 they would be better players all individually than if they played 600 one way and 400 another way, because obviously thinking about the result, almost like with, and you know yourselves, say again?
That's what I'd say.
It's the results business.
He's not. Yeah, it's better on Sunday to make little Johnny better. He gets on Sunday to make sure.
But is it not a case of that? Just the same way with junior football, in terms of, obviously the league did away with tables for the younger age group because obviously it was all about development. Is it not a case of, if you concentrate on more improving them as individuals, you will reap the rewards for that later on when it does get a lot more.
Trials about 50 kids every summer and picks his best lot.
Oh, yeah, Jesus.
No.
Me, honestly, I coached the complete opposite way I used to. I was the laziest, lost 3-1, I scored. But nah, for me, winning makes better. Personally, for me, I just think, another kids, we're going to go into Rashford later, but it's like, come on, they're soft, man. They're soft. You can say all this and that. If you want to, if you look at players on by, when I was younger, when I went to Boston, with no IT there, there was a kid called Lee Beaton. He was on like a schoolboy, and he was the worst player there. He got the furthest out of us all. Because he just run around like a, he had a heart, he had passion. Me, I'm sort of from Asia, scoring, thinking, yeah man, I've scored. Do you know what I mean? And that, I think for the top players, it does make a difference, that individual thing. And that's why you get players who come through, they're good, and you're like, all of a sudden it's like, right, it's time to like, to the next level now. And they're not, can't cope with that, they don't know how to deal with that. All they want to do is, I think, of course, it makes them selfish. Not selfish, but like, it's somewhere in between being selfish and teammate. So they can sometimes they'll look at change nothing when I've done my thing. And that, to me, that's not really what it's about, is it? If you're not winning, how do you enjoy it? You don't. Don't enjoy it. And coaching, like the coaching thing. Each team we play, me and Lenny playing for 3 years now, maybe? Well, 1 year singles, didn't you?
Yeah,
2 years, maybe, 2 or 3 years, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But every week we play, so we all know each other. So, the under 11's football is my training session is so whether we play blades, all that's the is it's about temperament and tempo. That's we play echo, so it's about quality. You know what I mean? It's just, and I think if it makes my lot better. And I personally think we were that good yesterday. But the commitment was 120%. And I can't argue with that. And it's put up. It's been from big wall for me yesterday. And that's what got us over the line in that game. So it's like an individual thing, yeah, it's good to a certain point, but if you've got the heart, they want to be better, they'll naturally get better. Kids who want to get better. Kids who don't, you don't make decisions, they don't get better.
So you don't think you don't think you've got an influence on that, Nathan?
Yeah, I do a lot. My sessions are all team based. I speak within throughout the session to a team, and I've had kids in the past. I've felt bad sometimes. I had a kid like leave us lane. I was not mentioning names, but I had a kid leave me, and he never got anything better with me. I thought to myself, if I let him down by, I never do individual. I don't do dribbling drills. But I'm like, if you can't pass it 15 yards, someone else will. Do you know what I mean? That's just how I am. I just want them to be the team. Because I enjoy football the most. Not when I was put on the ball. When I was in a team and we go out, everyone would be out, not 2 or 3 man in the bar. You know what I mean? Like parents will say, 2 or 3 parents, but everyone in there. And that's what it creates. You win, it creates. You've got a defender who don't like playing and one who's striking to go into the goal teasing. It's 2 big differences in your team, mentally.
I hear that. And it's football. It's about a game about opinions. I'm not going to agree with everything you say, and yeah. So it's why I guess. Well, it's not. I guess it's a fact. It is why we all love the game so much. Okay. Before we move on from Bielsa, if he was to stay in, make himself available to carry on, because there's been a lot of rumours that that's it now. He's done. Obviously, of a certain age. How far up the table, club-wise or status-wise, Lee, I'll come to you on this first. Where do you think he could potentially get a job next, given his status?
In the Premier League?
Yeah.
I just think this type of football he wants to play, I don't think anybody will go near him, because I just think...
Really?
Yeah, I genuinely think that. I think what he did at Leeds was brilliant. It was fresh. It come to the Premier League. It was brilliant. It was fresh, and he's roared off that. I think this last season, everybody's worked out. He's got no plan B. So I'd say if he was to develop a different style or a plan B, then he can go to a lot of teams. He could pick up a Spurs or something like that, because a lot of what his teams do is okay. It's good, but it's just, to me, in a lot of ways, it's a bit like and Premier League's too fast, too quick, and there's too many athletic footballers to have 10 man attacking. If he
had City with that squad and quality, do you think he'd win the league?
No, because I think Klopp would win more points than him, because it's. I've said this phrase, Alex Ferguson always said, strikers win your games, defence wins your titles. Yeah. And you've seen the impact on Van Dijk's had
Alisson.
Liverpool and Alisson. When City they went and bought, I think Diaz and they bought Laporte, you've seen the impact what central defenders have on winning titles.
Well, we got Rio.
Yeah, when we've got Rio, we've got Stam. The history is there that, you can have 25, 30 goal season player, but if you're not lucky, I remember the season we were talking in Banter, and Liverpool were flying, but they were just conceding goals. I think they conceded like 40 odd goals that season. And I said to Crime, you're not going to win a title conceding 40 league goals. You're not. Do you know what I mean? So I think he'll do well at City. Will he get top 4? I think so. But will he win a league? No, because I think Klopp would out-coach him.
Lane, what would be Bielsa's ceiling if he was to get another Premier League job?
Leicester, I think looking round about there.
Okay.
What Leicester? Leicester now?
Yeah, with Rodgers being a bit, obviously he's
Apple
on
crumble.
he's on his last legs in there. So I think Leicester, if he was going anywhere, he'd probably be there, because they're quite a fluid team as well, aren't they? So he might be able to adapt how he wants to play. But yeah, I can't see him going to anyone really better than Leeds.
Okay. Oh, fair enough. I'm surprised. I mean, again, I think my outset on it was because, and I won't say cheerleading him, but he has a lot of top people in the game that praise him for his attention to detail and how well he does, etc. Blah blah blah. Almost like give references on the CV for him. But again, people in the chat, give us your opinion as well. If Bielsa does decide to pick up another Premier League club, tell us how high you think his ceiling is. Could he potentially take the Man United job if Ranieri doesn't stay on? If Conte leaves Spurs, do you think he'd be in the conversation for the Spurs job? Obviously, drop your comments in the chat. Let us know, give us your opinion, and let us know your thoughts. Okay, the next one that we are going to move on to is Liverpool and the quadruple, which is, my mic seems to be very loud. Let me just check. Look at these settings a second. Meeting settings. Can I do this? I'll just talk lower or further away. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so Liverpool are on course for a quadruple. City have been in that situation before, and it's not happened. I think Man United have been in that situation probably 2 or maybe 3 times, and obviously it's not happened. A simple question: Lee, do you think it'll ever be done? Do you think a team will ever pick up 4 trophies in one season?
Why not? Nobody thought you'd get 100 points. Nobody thought you'd go season unbeaten.
That's true.
Nobody thought it'd be a treble, and a proper treble, not the Mickey Mouse trebles. So, why not? A bit of luck. That's all it takes. There's not a World Cup season or a Euros season before you don't win Champions League, so you're not in that Club World Cup. You get lucky with injuries. You get a few Man City decisions on Saturday. If the stars are aligned, do I think it'll happen? I doubt it, but if, like I said 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you'd have said somebody's going to get, even when Arsenal went unbeaten, if you'd have said when Arsenal went unbeaten, somebody's going to get 100 points plus in the next 15, 20 years, you'd have said not a chance. So,
Lane, over the course of the evolution of football, we've seen squads get bigger, and the depth. I mean, even as great as Man United's '99 team was, the bench, Solskjaer, Nicky Butt, Phil Neville, Teddy Sheringham, that was probably as strong. And then when you look at City's bench now, or Chelsea's bench now, is it a case of the way that the squads have got bigger and deeper that the quadruple makes it more possible than ever?
Yeah, I think to win all 4, they've got to have especially at the pace we play in England, you have to have that massive squad. Because even when you look at when Barcelona won, they won 6 trophies in a season or something stupid like that.
Calendar year.
Yeah, they didn't have a massive squad, but their bread and butter league games, it's not as intense and as fast paced as the Premier League. And I think, yeah, and to get the Christmas break, so I think they probably wouldn't have done that in England. But yeah, you do need a massive squad. If Liverpool are going to do it, it will be a great achievement anyway. But again, they haven't got a massive squad like you said. Outside of there, we've always said Liverpool got as good a 12, 13 as anyone else. I think that Diaz looks like he might be a a good signing for you. And I think it can be done. I'm not sure they'll do it this season, but I think it can be done in the next couple of years as the squads do get bigger.
Nev, is if there's anything going against you besides history, is it the depth of Liverpool's squad? What could potentially derail an unprecedented quadruple season?
First of all, I don't think it's possible personally, because I know we talk about squad size, but I think the way the squads are structured are all very different. Like, looking at, say for instance, I think the Prem, their squad is built to win the Prem because they've got that many players of, I won't say bang equal, but Edison don't play, Diaz don't play, and De Bruyne doesn't play. They're the only 3 players you think, why isn't he playing? Other than that, you don't question anything there.
It's like for like, yeah.
Whereas Liverpool's team is set up for the day, and that's why I think Liverpool are better. We'll say they're better to win the league, but we're better. I think our 11 is better than their 11, and that's why I think they should be the Champions League. Because I think City were a lot easier to beat on like a one-off game like Chelsea did.
Yeah.
Obviously that's brilliant, but it can be done. Obviously, we've got this side to do it, and obviously Diaz makes it better. But you're never gonna have Diaz, Mane, Salah, Firmino, Jota all playing well at the same time. So you need that for one. Ultimately playing regularly to be coming to the side and do it all the time. And I think it's just too much. Personally, I just think it's way too much. Like what round are we going to the FA Cup? Quarters, maybe? Or the quarters?
Yeah.
So that's another, and we've got what?
What have you got in quarters?
Norwich.
I'll come to that because I miss when you add games. It's not just about it. It just adds. If you think Liverpool get to the final, say that's another. There's 5 games now. Norwich then 4 more after that.
Fixtures
Champions League. It's what? We've got 1. I think we'll have 2. That's 9 games, maybe 7. So
you end up playing a game every 3-4 days, don't you?
That's what I'm saying. So for that, it's just when you get to that point, that's when you start getting. The Matic gets injured. He's not going to get injured because he can rotate the squad, leave him out. But when he plays regularly, when we leave him last year, he can't do it. Trent always gets rested. Like,
it's 5th round, not quarters.
That's what I mean, yeah.
That's
So
an extra round.
It's the one before, and it's 5 games from now into the final, yeah? No, there's 6 round, isn't there?
No, 5th round quarters.
It's 5th round quarters. Yes, that's 5. So I think it's too many games. I think it's 50 season games up by, probably 25 games, maybe. Penalty, Liverpool have won, big club will got to the final, so you have to now got to catch up on the Prem. And it just all gets too combusted, and it's just too much for me. Because I think League Cup, I know we've just won it, but I think it's time. I was the biggest fan of it, but I don't. What else? I don't know.
Just sticking on the League Cup for a minute. I wasn't going to say it to them, but my seen as Forbes has just mentioned it. What's your stance on the goalkeeper situation in terms of you're letting your number 2 play all the rounds and then you get to the final? I'm guessing, Nathan, given what you said earlier in terms of it's about winning, would you have put Alisson in the net if you was in charge of the final for Sunday?
No. They're the same with penalty takers and keepers. A lot of people think of technical players, you get him on a pen. Benz's got no to do with his technical ability. It's about how big you are.
No. I mean the game. It's the final itself. In terms.
Yeah, but I'm saying for me, Alisson to be on our Pelican. Alisson's a better keeper.
Yeah.
But it's about the guys who are taking the pen. Me, the keeper, is more. It's just a game of luck for the keeper. Because how often do you see like a worldly pen service? You do usually go that way and go and answer it.
Yeah.
Not in that way. If you go that way and it's near you, that's your job, innit? You know what I mean? Like, but I would never have took off Mendes. No way on there.
Why when the stats clearly said that he's the better penalties shot saver? They do.
So if you want, no, right? He's won penalty shootouts, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's played in the FA Cup all season.
Yeah.
He's won penalty shootouts. You're telling me if Mendy was in the net for them games, they couldn't have won that penalty shootout?
No, but I'm saying from a background perspective. Obviously, the games wise, stats wise. But if I'm the Chelsea coach, I'm not going off that alone. I'm seeing hours of right. Show me in training then, right? Let's do it. No, but it's for. I would say that it's very difficult to replicate the pressure of a penalty shootout, or impossible in terms of we've discussed this. The walk from the halfway line, people watching the situation, yada 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 yada. But the goalkeepers, because they've got nothing to lose, I would say if I'm in training and I've got I got my two goalkeepers and I say 50 pence each, etc. I think that takes a far better reflection in terms of who's better on penalty shootouts rather than who's better at scoring them, because the bubbles of the walk, of running up to the ball, is the goalkeeper going left and right, that's thingy. But just in terms of saving them, do you not agree that training would tell you a lot more?
I got a question for you, right? Yeah.
Go on.
Schmeichel does 50 penalty saves. Takes in training, that's 50 penalties.
Yeah.
Banter De Gea has 50 penalties against him.
Yeah.
Schmeichel concedes because he's 40.
Yeah.
De Gea concedes 30. Who do you want in there, Schmeichel or De Gea?
10's not that bigger. 10's not that bigger. What you call it?
No way I'm there. I'm right bottom dollar.
I'm not gonna lie. If it was somebody like Schmeichel, the only person I'd put him against, probably in his pomp, was Buffon and Kahn, and they're the only goal. If Schmeichel could concede 50 and the reserve goalkeeper don't concede one, I'm still going with Schmeichel.
Still have with him. Trade line.
Personally.
And think about you taking a penalty. Would you rather take a penalty again? But Mendy, I Googled it today. He was 6'1". He's 6'5", Mendy. That ultimate.
Lane.
Stood on the post. Van Dijk put it in his side.
Yeah. That was. Am I not right in saying though? Am I not right in saying that they've done this before when it paid off?
No, because what I'm saying to you, what's happened is Kepa's stats are based on his penalty shootouts. But he plays in the FA Cup. So, Mendy hasn't had the penalty shootouts.
No, I hear that. But what I'm saying,
So I'm saying, the stats aren't like ratio-wise. They're just on amount. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
So Kepa's obviously going to win. You think he's the cup guy for them? Why didn't he start him? For every game until that game in cup, why didn't he start him?
Yeah, that was my initial question in terms of would you, if you're one of those coaches that's played your backup goalkeeper in all the rounds, do you stick with him in the final or do you go to number one? Lane, what would you have done?
I'd have stuck with number 2, especially only being Carling Cup.
Yeah, I would.
Okay. If it were FA Cup, you'd have gone back to your one?
Arsenal, yeah, and it depends on where you are. As an Arsenal fan, as Arsenal are now, I probably would have just gone strong 11 because that's all we're ever going to win.
Lee, what do you have done?
Man United's number 2's Tom Eaton, so that's that conversation done.
Lee Grant,
yeah, and Lee Grant, yeah. But, you know what I mean?
What if Henderson was still there?
If what?
Henderson. Say again?
Romero. If Romero's
No, Henderson.
Henderson. I don't.
has he got on loan, isn't it?
Oh yeah, he's still there. That's how poor he is. I'm not.
No, I thought he'd gone out on loan.
I'm not, so, you know what it is? I think it's one of those. It's like what we said about the penalties in the Euros. If it works, it's a genius. If it doesn't, then you know.
Yeah.
And I just think football small margins. Me personally, I would have either started with Kepa because he's played every round and keep him in the net, or I started with Mendy and keep him in the net.
Yeah.
Think about it, I can't actually remember that happening until Van Gaal did it in World Cup and Tim Krul saved penalties for Holland. That's the first time I'd ever seen it. I could be wrong. So I just think it's something that's happened once and people talk about it's a psychological thing or whatever. So every now and again somebody will try it. But if Chelsea, if it had won, if it had saved the penalty for them and they'd have won it, it would have been a masterstroke. So right indoors, isn't it? But I personally wouldn't have done it. I think Mendy's a better keeper all round.
Nif, at the time, because obviously different players have got different strengths and weaknesses, but at the time when Pep first came to City, obviously he brought Bravo in the net because he was categorically better than Joe Hart with his feet in terms of playing out and stuff, etc. But Joe Hart, for the basic standard fundamentals as a goalkeeper, Joe Hart was, well, at the time, a lot better goalkeeper. Do you not subscribe to the fact that you can have a goalkeeper who's just not simply, but even if Mendy is the better goalkeeper than Kepa, do you not subscribe to the fact that there is a mindset that Kepa is just on his game when it comes to pens, a bit like Tim Krul?
I think pens is such a unique part of the game to bank on that. I mean, it's not like someone using their feet and someone being better with their hands.
Yeah.
I just think pens not on every day. It's not like it's not ridiculous, is it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not.
Reality matter is with a pen, if a player gets the proper contact on the ball, it's in the right place. A goalkeeper's not going to save it.
He saved that one. He let one in. Did not say maybe?
Yeah, he did. He got his hands on one, didn't
He
he?
should have saved it, but when your hand's there.
Yeah.
So I mean, if your hand's there, he's got good contact. Look on him. I'd like to put it same side. Munoz dinked him after stood in front of him 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Kepa was just trying to make it about him.
Yeah.
Because he thought, I've got no pressure. And then, Sod's Law, he said to end up being about him. As soon as he stood up, I knew for a fact.
Yeah. I think he knew we were going to mix it up.
You think you thought you were taking a goal kick? Because that's the only explanation. It was terrible.
Oh, but that's it. Like, I don't just know from this sometimes, but he has to get a fine. He can't miss like that.
That went over 2 nets.
As soon as he hit it,
You know, it just all the technique were wrong.
Listen, as soon as he connected with that ball, he went off screen. How easy?
I was shut home.
I was like, where's ball gone? I watched it with Chucky. We were like, what's happened there?
I think the worst part of it was the fact that the other goalkeeper had gone before him and smashed it in. So that had just like doubled up the pressure.
And you know what made it worse as well? You know the
Sorry,
still
lads.
image? Yeah, you know the still image looked worse because Liverpool's keeper like dove to the floor. So obviously he's a lot lower, so it makes the net look higher.
Yeah.
So then the gap between the net, the top of the net and the ball looks like amplified.
It was like 5 foot up now, didn't it? I thought I was see it. I literally remember watching my phone. It's my phone, my laptop, my spatula, my laptop, and the ball. Oof.
I know.
I was like, no. And I was in group like, what happened to Sports the ads? One. Net getting near one.
What are them cars called that LJ used to have? The tracks? Finger cars.
Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels, it was like a Hot Wheel.
Do you know what? It genuinely looked like you were trying to do crossbar challenge. You didn't hit it like you wanted to score it. Yeah, the second net.
I don't see that, like. They should have, we're talking about probably because I like Backham's not offside, that's pathetic.
That was onside that way, wasn't it?
Well, he's off, innit, with finger ready to go. And my one, subjective probably. All the other ones, they were offside when they missed, but Mason Mount.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't deserve it. You miss chances you don't win cup finals, do you? Because I thought they were the better side. They were the better side over 120 minutes. They were the better.
When I saw what amount of chances Chelsea missed, I said Liverpool are going to win this.
Yeah. Like, I look like one. Oh, yeah, this is not offside. This is not. It just makes no odds. His finger, like, for me, if you're if I'm 10 yards onside, the lane's running down it, like that, he's not catching me. Anyway, he's nowhere. I remember seeing it with last season, Bookie against City, and I just thought he was literally must have been 4 yards back on defender, but his arm were off, and I was just like, that plays no odds in that situation.
He's not getting an advantage from that.
Yeah, he's not. It's just a gain, and he's just it's crazy. Crazy.
Guys, do you think? I mean, following on from earlier when we were saying that the likelihood of a quadruple is more plausible in today's football because of the depth of the squads, etc. Is that testament to how often we're seeing penalty shootouts now go well into the high numbers in terms of a lot of them are not finished over. I mean, one of the arguments we said earlier about saving your best penalty striker play for later is that you want Ronaldo, Messi, Shearer on your 4 or 5 because that's usually the do or die penalty. But a lot of penalty shootouts, the Man United one, Europa League final, this one now, Carling Cup, we've seen a lot of penalty shooters that are going into the high numbers. Do you think that's simply down to teams taking preparation a lot more serious, or is it the fact that the defenders nowadays are a lot more technically better footballers than in the past? Go on, Forbes, go.
This last week, didn't we? We did all this last week.
Oh, technically, but yeah, we did.
Yeah, it's that. That's what it is. It's not saying bad. Well, I do say bad players, but they're bad players, but they are technically a lot better. Keepers, like, how many keepers do you fancy on a pen? Nah, it's Edison. Technically, he's Ferrari for a goalkeeper. You look at him, and I don't know, Schmeichel. I'm not saying he's a better keeper, but technically, light years apart.
Football's changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, light years
Changed
apart.
massively.
Right,
But, you know,
most technical people on pitch now.
Edison's pinging a ball like a top-class central midfielder back in there.
Really better.
He's pinging.
Crazy.
He can ping them.
Yeah, the game just obviously, but then again, the game has changed to be like that. Do you know what I mean? You send him now. Number 8s don't exist anymore. It's not a thing. You either sit or you don't. You play the whole or you sit.
Do you so you don't think it's preparation then? You don't think they're practicing a lot more than they used to? It's just
it's life. They should just the coach they want to go through their lives.
Okay.
So, I think it's just that. Yeah, if you think like kids now, they don't know. Man City have kids at 3-4 year old. How can you tell me someone's good at 3 year old? You know what I mean? You think I had to stop playing until I was 12 and tricks easy boys. I mean, these kids are playing now from 4 leagues, cups, big games, going to training camp and that training camp. You know what I mean? 1-to-1 tuitions.
Lane, would you, if your junior team was in a final, would you have a practice penalty shootout at your coaching session beforehand?
No, I think we do them anyway, just for kids. Kids enjoy them.
Yeah,
so
they do.
We do them sometimes just for a laugh.
Yeah, they do.
I think we've lost a penalty shootout this season, and it was my best 3 in training. Don't miss. Do not miss. Do you know what I mean? And they were the 3 where you go, it would a penalty 1, 2, and 4 that missed, and you like they did everything except what they do in training. Whereas in training, ball down, pick a corner, it's it inside netting.
I see Danny Murphy on Talksport today. He said, "Good one, a Hodge used to do. I'm gonna use it now." What he does is in training, you pick your side you're going to, you pick where you're gonna go. That's where you take the penalty possession. So you know exactly where you're going. That's your only place you go, and then you can it. I'm over now. Think of radio. It's a great idea. Because they know what they're going to do, you know what they're going to do, and if they miss, do you know what I mean? He said change their mind or thought, you know what I mean? He sort of takes off the pressure up. He's thinking about how.
You said that, but Nath, you said that if you're going 4 or 5, what allegedly are the do or die penalties, and every penalty before that has gone to your spot, you're gonna think, or no, let me rephrase that, because I said to Nav one time when we were playing for Sharon, we were playing sure I could just pick a side and dive to that side every time. Guarantee at least one of them is gonna go that side. At least one's gonna go that side. So if you're on 4 or 5, and the goalkeeper's gone to that side every time, or everyone before you's gone to that, you're trying to say you wouldn't even consider changing your spot?
As a player, I would have, yeah. I'm saying, I think if I didn't do that drill, I think if you do that drill, it just sort of...
More confidence.
Because you've got to remember, penalty, you can take 100 in a row, the percentage is the same every single pen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because the keeper's the right way, the keeper's going to save it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I just think, honestly, I did think of it more, but I think that for kids is better. But I mean, I just think then they've got to, you know what they're doing, and it sort of takes the, I think it takes the blame off them and sort of, you know what I mean? I try and do that all the time, everything. You know what I mean? Get the blame off them and do it myself. If they miss, I'm like, right, I'm going to stick the listening to it and say, yeah, it's a great idea.
Okay.
It's my best. We got the shot, we lost 3-1 and sorry, I said, but my best penalty, you were like Pepper. Literally. Why? But yeah.
Alright guys, we've got one more topic to cover before we wrap up tonight's show. So Lee, I'll come to you first. Footballers and politics. We've seen a dip, and players, politics or not, players have dips in forms, where it could be for personal reasons. I remember when Beckham had a real dip, and then apparently it came out that his parents were in the middle of a divorce, and he had a real dip one time when he was at Man United. We see Marcus Rashford at the moment not having the best spell in his career, and I think it's an easy target, but some people are saying he's got too involved in stuff outside football, political stuff, and it's potentially affected his football form. What's your thoughts on the footballers just simply concentrating on football, or what's your thoughts on footballers using their influence to try and do some good there and thereabouts where they can?
I think there's a place for it. I can't say there's not, because at the end of the day, there's a human element of trying to do better for others and do better for ourselves. So I don't think what Rashford did initially was a bad thing. I just think he got caught up in the hype, and I just think he got these kids free school meals, great job. Then he went again, then he went again, then he went again, and then I think as well, what his form wasn't great for Man United. I mean, Info, you know me, and I'm regular Man United who I've been saying for ages, Rashford is a good player who has great moments. I don't know anybody can look at Rashford and say he's world class. I think he's got a lot of the tools to be a world class footballer, but he's brain dead in a lot of things. He will constantly make the same mistake. Some of the things he does now, in terms of head down, not seeing the pass, he's like, for me, he's like a Theo Walcott. When you give him decisions to make, he'll make the wrong decision. If I were coaching Rashford, I'd just say, play off instinct. And I think his form's not been great, but then I feel what he did, the country was behind him, and he kind of masked that. And then I just think he went on and on and on. And then if you watch him as a footballer, like I say, he's had great moments, but I don't think it's been brilliant for 18 months, a year now. Then obviously he's gone to Euros, didn't particularly play well. Obviously he's missed the penalty, that's not his fault, anybody could miss a penalty. And I just think, and me a Rasta man at heart, and I just think when you're going against Babylon, they're gonna get you one way or the other. And I've said it, there's something not right with Rashford. Football, away from football, something's not right there with him. So I do think there's a place for it. I do think it's a good thing to do. But I think sometimes you've got to he wouldn't have gone on as long as he did if Alex Ferguson was the manager. Ferguson would have said, that's your lot. He'd have said, that's your lot. He's trying to get kids to everything. I'm not saying that's wrong, but at some point, you've got to concentrate on doing what you're doing. And I just think it's all caught up on him, and I think his form's been terrible.
Different now, though. A manager can't tell man that now. I know when I said Fergie, but this era, the players. Now, Ferguson was like unbelievable, but the way he managed,
he had power. He had the power.
You didn't see any other players doing what Rashford did for 8 months, 9 months, 10 months.
Yeah, but he was different.
No, I'm talking now. When Rashford was pushing the free school meals and the books, not many players were pushing it with him, were they?
I'll be honest, I've got a lot of time for it. I rate him, I rate Sterling, and I think when I look at like Rio's, Ashley Cole's, black players have gone. Them man are talking now, but they didn't want to send out then. And to me, if you didn't send nothing then, don't send out now. For me personally, I think you got Rashford, for instance. We don't know. Him personally, might find that more important than he does the football. Not saying that's a right or wrong thing, it's money, whatever, but he might have got to a point now where he's thinking, boy, I'm more into that than I'm into that. Do you know what I mean? I think that, I'm not saying it is, but that looks to me like it's a bit of a thing. I think the way they're cuddled through the academies and through the whole way through the careers, cuddled. And now, it's sort of like when players got to a certain point, then I think it's up to them. And like I said earlier, the individual wants to get better, the individual gets better, actually. But yeah, I don't know, but I don't know if there's that more tweaks. Do you know what I mean? And that done, this day's game, them things can't run, man. Them things can't run. These guys are, Salah's probably he's never going to drink or that, no. English. Listen, I'm not saying he's not the best player in the world, but he won't be where he was today. He wasn't the tennis game, is what he is.
Distractions, though, isn't it?
It's not a distraction. I don't think it's a distraction, because I think. I don't know.
Nathan, are you saying?
Where would you say his focus is right now, politics or football?
I think he looks lost. But I never think he was as good as what, man. I don't think any English player, from me personally, has been as good as what people make out to be to Arsenal. I think Wilt's is just some genius. He was a good player. That's about it.
I'd agree with that.
He had injuries, but I don't think these guys was as good as what people say.
Oh, I have to disagree with you on Wilshere, and my own personal reasons for that is the game. Him and Fabregas went toe to toe with Xavi and Iniesta in that Champions League game, and he was unreal. And yeah, I know everybody can have the day, but this is arguably, when people talk about a three, because obviously you talk about Man United's 4-4-2 or AC Milan's Diamond, or Zidane and Vieira, but when people talk about the best 4-3-3 combination in midfield, obviously Xavi and Iniesta is always in the conversation, and the fact that Jack and Fabregas, where credit to, more than held their own in that game. I really think as football we was robbed by Jack Wilshere's injuries, because I think he was the shit. I'm a Man U fan, but I think it was bad.
Think about it this way, Reds, yeah. Vieira for me, Lampard for Chelsea, Vieira, Scholes are key for this game. You tell me Roy Keane's best 5 game.
Turin, that's definitely one. The Juventus one.
Arsenal 4-2.
Yeah, that was a big game.
Arsenal 4-2.
We're in the black kit. When I think he got a couple of goals as well.
I think you think from it. My point is.
Go on.
If you raise somebody on one game and that's all you hang on about all the time, to me, there's not enough body of work, no.
Yeah, I hear that, but I just don't think that's something you can fluke. Do you know what I mean? Lampard.
I'm not saying he's not world class, but you got like yesterday was the day of Wilshire. It looked up and I'm thinking, what? Like, you can't go on like, you have games where we've lost games, man, you lost games, man, I've played, I don't know. Back in the old against Roy Keane. Probably matched Roy Keane one game. I mean, they just had their day in it, but for me to be a good player, so I always say about players, a season doesn't make a man. You have to be a top player. De Bruyne, now, man, I say, oh, he's this and that today. He couldn't have done to them, man.
I guess even counter argument you could even say to that is you could arguably say maybe Xavi and Iniesta were just on an off day and allowed him to shine, which is fair. I hear that still.
Premier League limits. Is he in top 50?
No, he's not. But obviously,
Is he top 50?
Is he top 50?
Come on, is it Wilshire? Come on, he is.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Is he top 50?
He is.
No, I hear Nathan's point.
I hear your point.
I love it.
No, yeah.
I 100% get. I think what it was with Wilshire, because he's English, because he's come through Arsenal Academy. That's why. Same with Saka and Smith Rowe now.
Yeah.
Same with Rashford.
Yeah, it's because they come through the academy and then burst onto the scene as young kids. We sort of attach ourselves to them as not necessarily us as individuals, but as football fans and English fans and English club fans. We attach ourselves to them in the hope that they're gonna go on and lead.
Euros. You've been good since. Jesus.
You weren't even great in Euros, mate.
Forget Euros, we're going this season.
Who's that? Sorry.
Wilshire, the man call him Messiah. It's like, he's just ability, like, rightly, ability, Wilshire, yes, top 50. But just as a player and a body of work, Pogba ability, he's probably the best centre we've ever seen. But he's nowhere near.
Yeah, but with Wilshire, I don't think that's down to like lack of application or thing. I think it's just unfortunate with injuries. Yeah, you can say he got caught smoking and he might not have lifted the perfect what you call it live right. But
and that's where he's got to do his bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't even know that. Buddy. Smoking. That's what I'm saying. You can't do that. You cannot do that now. Can't.
Zidane were a smoker.
Yo, Zidane, innit? Listen, what are you asking, bro?
There was only one answer to that question.
Listen, that's what I'm saying. That's a different era. Do you know what I'm saying? You're playing Wilshire, like, you look at Leicester, like, indeed, he could run for 9 days straight. These men are just please. Like, it's a joke, and the athletes wouldn't take on ball. Do you know what I mean? You can't. Yeah, his injuries and all that, but for me, Wilshire's just overhyped for me personally. I think it was over. I don't have the right words. I can't think of 50. I can think of a good fielder, but I can't think of 50 central midfielders. So, would you have Wilshire or Henderson?
That's close, that.
A man close to man. That's what I'm saying, though. Yeah. So, would you have? There's loads of guys you look at. Like Anderson from Man U or Wilshire, and I'll say, right, yeah, Anderson played in the winning team.
Yeah, but I mean, Anderson, you're talking about lifestyle. Jeez, you were fatter than me.
But what I'm saying is, he did it though.
He did it.
That's a good comparison. That.
No, Aaron Fletcher.
Dan Fletcher was a good midfielder. I rate Dan Fletcher.
Ability, I'd say, where is he go?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So I take away ability, I take it away from the game. Ability, when I was younger, you should have played this and that. But I should have. Who's like a score a goal or whatever. Ability to me, I'm not asked about a man who's got an awesome ability. By, when I say Pogba on the end, to me, how would you when he was free now, that man never touch him. He would not touch him. He played in the left. In the top side, pace is about 3 miles an hour. Talks about what's unbelievable on the ball. Come to the Prem, like you said, Watford can beat you 1-0. I said, I think this on Saturday, but Watford called. You didn't take your chances. Do you know what I mean? That's what's been happening to you. Don't let up. So this is backing on players and ability. It's not enough to have ability back in the day.
There's more to it now, isn't there?
It's application, isn't it?
Yeah, you could get away with it. You can't just have ability. That's impossible.
But I think, sorry, back to what you were saying about Rashford and getting caught up in the politics and stuff. I think there's a bit of a sort of an Oliver Twist moment with Rashford. He's done that for the school dinners, and everybody wants a bit more, don't they?
Yeah. So people, yeah. So yeah.
I think that's how his focus or how his head could be turned to. All right, well, I've helped that many kids, but then all right, yeah, I've got to help this many now. I've got to. He's sort of got to keep up the. I don't want to say pretense because I don't think he's
sides, isn't it?
Yeah, and really, football fans, certainly you guys are Man United fans, you'd rather him just lock off all forms of social media and just take a bag of balls and stay in Grace Park and just, do you know what I mean, work on it, sharpen his tools again. But I think I get the point. I think Rashford's good. I've always said he's just a modern day, like a now era of Theo Walcott. He's much technically better. He's better, 100%.
His stats are good. They're good stats.
Yeah, but it's your eyes as well. And I think if I'd have been on last week's show, I think where you and Wazza were absolutely nailing Phil were on stats. I think sometimes now when we watch football, I don't think we watch football. I think we read the stats a lot, and then that sort of makes us mind up about things. So I think like Rashford, he'll have really good stats. He's still quite young, but if you've watched him for the last 18 months, he's actually not been playing very well.
I'll show you. Look at stats. Who's got the most goals and assists in Premier League in the last 2 years?
Salah. Got to be Salah.
No, central midfielders.
Fernandes.
Yeah, Bruno.
Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, but then, like you said, I think then that is done. For me, Man, I feel sorry for any Man U player seems fair again. Maybe not Moyes so much, but the game now is about. It's not about playing. It's about all it's about. Every single part of the game is about the system you play and the players in that system. And you down there, isn't summer. One play 7 at a time. We always turn up. I mean, we always play out. We play. And if even 1 week or teams, you know what I mean? It's just like never had a manager. Ralph Ragnick, what else have you had? Solskjaer, they're not managers, man. How can you put their managers popping, epping? Like Conte, I know football's not the best, but he's a manager. He sees things. And I just think this Ralph guy, I don't know who he is, and all these Man U man think, oh, he did this and that. Who managed him on 10 grand a week? Now you got man on 350 a week, running 40 mile a game. It's not happening. It's not happening. And that's why you can't do it. It's all about systems. And they bought bad, because it was bought, like Ronaldo would probably have doing to go to City, like Cavani. I like Cavani, but it's just every signing you bad. What signing you made when you thought, right, build around him. Probably Bruno, like Bruno was a brilliant thing for you, but at the same time, he masked so much that was going on within the team, and I think players get rated so much after one. Like Luke Sherman thought he was back. I didn't tell him Wan Bissaka for time. Oh my God,
I just see slide tackle.
Kick a football.
Well, these two will confess to how long I've been.
Yeah, Lee's now fan.
From day one, I've said, take away slide tackling. Tell me what Wan Bissaka's good at. And they, wait. I said, bag of noise, you know, but I don't hear an argument.
When I was younger, if you had clean shots in the defence, you had a good game. I was like grassland there, man. I love Saka. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Like, but like, back to the topic, Sterling's done it.
Yeah.
He's dealt with both.
Yeah.
But man not rate Sterling.
I rate Sterling.
I'm saying it as a whole.
It's because of which political angle he's took. That's why he's not getting the ratings.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But so like, to me, out of all the players in the Prem, Sterling rushed me on the football front, but what he's done, I rate them at the highest. I could never look at them guys ever, because there's so many men haven't, and that's for me what makes a massive difference in players and in sport in general. It comes from and how you are. That's why I'm with that Diaz. I didn't know what he was like before. South America, bro. Hey, man, you know business. don't mess about. And like these players, you got Mane, Salahs, they do everything. Not you, but they do so much making movies in that. And the way they play football, you can sort of see that. Do you know what I mean? Whereas English players are just like Greenish style Napoli, just chilling it. You can see it. You know what I mean? Napoli just I won a title. Someone said to me, yeah, but you won a title. Someone's got bought for a Bills. He's got 2 assists, 4 goals.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear it. Saka, him, plays on commitment. You can see it. Smith Rowe plays on commitment because they aren't Rashfords. They're not great. Not all of them the best player in the world. So they got to prove it. The guys have got to prove it. They are.
Right, guys. Before we finish off, we're going to finish off on a lighter topic. Lane, I'm going to come to you first on this one. So I was watching Gary Neville's latest overlap, what they did in Manchester. On the panel, they had Gary Neville, Roy Keane, and Jamie Carragher, and they had to name an 11, the greatest Premier League 11. But Keane and Neville weren't allowed to pick any Man United players, and Carragher wasn't allowed to pick any Liverpool players. So obviously they all had Shearer in their team. I think they all had Henry in their team. But what surprised me, and you guys can write me or tell me if I'm right or wrong, that I should be offended or not offended, is that Rio Ferdinand weren't in any of the centre-back pairings. Obviously,
I couldn't see it. I was just I watched the things. I didn't see the team.
So like obviously Keane and Nev couldn't pick him anyway. But Keane had Tony Adams and John Terry. Neville had Van Dijk and John Terry, and Carragher had Company and John Terry.
I mentioned last week. Why?
Would you? We'll do it with you guys. So obviously Lee, you're a Man United fan. Lane's an Arsenal fan, and as you can clearly see, Forbes is an Everton fan. So, who would you be outside your club? Who do you think is the best centre backs that have graced the Premier League?
I'd say, me personally, I think for what they've won and how long they've won for, I'd have to say Company and Terry, I think.
Okay.
I think if Van Dijk in next 2 to 3 years, if Van Dijk wins another couple of Prems, then he's definitely the argument.
Obviously, Company was hit by a lot of injuries, but on ability-wise, on their best day, Van Dijk's best day, Terry's best day, Company's best day, Ferdinand's best day.
Centre backs on their best days, Company and Van Dijk on the best days. I don't.
Terry.
Yeah.
Go on, Forbes. Who would you have?
Personally,
I'd probably say. What, as in Liverpool or it's...
No, you can't have Liverpool. Can't have any Liverpool players.
So I got Rio.
Rio and who?
John Terry.
Rio and Terry. Lane, who would you have?
Rio and Company.
Or Virgil.
Again. Yeah. No.
There's a bag here. I'm telling you that.
Nah, I do like Virgil. It was Rio and Virgil until I heard Company's name, and I thought actually.
But
if we're going on best day, then yeah, I probably would have Van Dijk over Company. But if we're going on what the best centre back overall, consistent their career, over all that, I'd go Company ahead.
I think if you're talking, if I'm a striker or like an Henry or Shearer, and I think, right, I'm going to pull on to the weaker one, and Van Dijk and Rio in that back four, I'm thinking, what the fuck? If they're leave, but at the same time, when I argue the Roy Keane argument in terms of he's better than Gerrard, Lampard and Scholes because he influences the whole team and it's not just about him, And that's the bigger argument. When I come with that Roy Keane argument, Company was massive, man. It's Company, yeah.
How much do you think Roy Keane influenced us? How much do you think he influenced Beckham?
No,
How much?
big time.
Like, yeah.
They talk about it, right?
These men are managers, these men are players in that. Like, Roy Keane was wicked. I would say they weren't, but Roy Keane is like that man's chat. He's not.
No. I think.
What?
I think it's.
What?
I think it's what he expected and what they had to do to live up to his expectations.
Yeah, so Forbes, what my argument is, if the game's on the line, and there's 10 minutes to go, give Lampard an opportunity to hit the target for you. Gerrard, I'm the best player on the pitch. I go into Jordan mode. Give me the ball and I'll win us the game. Paul Scholes, the latter Paul Scholes will, right, give me the ball. I'll keep us possession. More possession we get, law of averages says that will give us a chance to win the game. Roy Keane, his influence is every player that besides him on the pitch, all the goalkeeper, the fullback, the strikers, etc. He just gets them up to their best game. So while he's not doing a Gerrard in terms of Roy of the Rovers, giving the ball, Michael Jordan more that I'll win it, he just pushes the rest of his players to give their maximum 10 out of 10. And my argument is, you will get your Gerrard Istanbuls and your Gerrard is Olympiakos moments, etc. Blah blah blah. But out of 10 games where you talk about Lampard's way of doing it, Scholes' way of doing it, Gerrard's way of doing it, Roy Keane's way of doing it, in my opinion, over law of averages, we talk about body of work. That's why he's my pick.
But Reds, you got to remember, Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes, they don't need other man to do their work for him.
No, yeah, I hear that.
For me, I like players who do it themselves than what man who have an influence. Like, that's why I love, what's his name, Arsenal. Fabregas was sort of that guy. When everyone went, he became that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
But for me, he knew other people.
Yeah, he says that as well. He says that as well.
So I think I prefer people who do it themselves. So it depends on your liking it.
But I think Infra's point is, in a team sport, it's not about the individual. It's about if Keane's going to be in there and he's going to make the 11 a better 11, then the law of averages over 10 games, 20 games, 38 game season, you're more likely going to come out on top than a player having 10 individual moments in a 38 game season.
Well, I think if you put Gerrard, Lampard, any of them man in that team, you get the same outcome.
Oh, I don't know, Forbes.
You put Roy Keane
I don't know. Yeah, let me give it a no, and let me just say this as fact. As an ex-midfielder, nobody has more admiration or ratings for Gerrard than me. Most complete midfielder, in my opinion, that the league's ever seen. But if I'm going to give you a negative about Gerrard, I think that because you've got a Jordan in your team, the other players almost shirk responsibility. Obviously, your Danny Murphys, your D-Rea, well, let me finish, are definitely not as good, etc. So it's almost a case of the game's on the line, just give the ball to Gerrard. And I get that, etc. Whereas, so I'm not going to say it shirks their development or anything, but it's better to have 10 players grow than to have 1 or 2 shrink, because I don't need, like Pippen used to say with the balls, I never had the clutch jinx, I never had to, just give the ball to Jordan. And I think Gerrard has that influence, or had that influence on the Liverpool team.
Yeah, but he should. Do you know what I mean? I think I've always thought that people are like, oh, Messi plays at Barca, teams all built around him, or Ronaldo.
They should be.
Yeah, but
if you've got a Jordan, give it to Jordan.
I've got a question for you. Do you think, and it's an hypothetical one, but do you think if Gerrard was in this Liverpool team, Mane and Salah would be doing what they're doing because Gerrard would always be looking for that Jordan moment?
No, because I think players who are that good, of that calibre, and Gerrard's and etc., same as his top managers, these guys can play in any era, any team.
Yeah, I hear that, but
I think it's just
Henderson,
like
but
Henderson or Gerrard. Right. There's no. Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree with you. It goes back to something I've said. I suppose the point I'm trying to say is for me, Van Nistelrooy is the most clinical striker. I'm not saying he's the best striker. He's the most clinical striker I've seen in the Premier League. But when he left Man United, Ferguson replaced him with Louis Saha. Now, I think Louis Saha is a decent player. But I was watching something what Gary Neville said, and Gary Neville said, although Van Nistelrooy was a much better striker and get you more goals, getting rid of Van Nistelrooy and bringing Saha in, it made Ronaldo, Rooney, it actually made the team better. So that's the question I'm asking. So I know, like Henderson, and I hear what he's saying about, I don't think Henderson's the greatest footballer, but what he does and what he brings to that team, it allows, and Fabinho as well, it allows your Manes, your Salahs, your Jotas, it allows them players to do that. Whereas I think if you've got somebody like Gerrard, he's probably going to take a lot of that off them and maybe not deliver as often. That's the question. I don't know. I'm just asking.
But I think when Torres come, he made Torres better.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just think players at that level and players were that good. Yeah, they do it, man. I don't think. Listen, they're that good. I just don't think he'd be stupid enough, and he's too good of a footballer to do that. Like when Nistelrooy went, that wasn't prime Nistelrooy when he left. Do you know what I mean? If he was prime, he wouldn't have got rid of like Nistelrooy if he thought it was the same from Luis Suarez, would it? You know what I mean? Nistelrooy was obviously.
I think he got rid of Nistelrooy because Nistelrooy and Ronaldo were always at loggerheads, and Ferguson knew Ronaldo had a much higher ceiling than Van Nistelrooy.
That's probably Man U fans trying to give Fergie.
He told him where he told Ronaldo to go cry to his dad or so after his dad had died and all that bad news.
I don't know. I just think them players. I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying you're saying. People say like, "Oh, what would he do there?" But it's just like, bro, these guys are a joke, man. They're not like guys who. They're not like, I don't know, players who get like Harry Kane. I mean, see, wherever he goes, he scores goals, man. He'll score. Now he ain't scoring. You've seen like another side to him where you sort of think, well, if I'm not scoring as many as I was, I've got sort of got. He's fixing it. It's amazing for 20 years, but his game just changed, went centre mid, went play out left, but in a wing they went play out left. You know what I mean? It just them players were that good. They just adapt to whatever is needed, and whenever you win it, players will adapt to whatever they need to do, won't they? So I mean, Scholes did it.
that's true. Right, guys, it's been a good show. Forbes, thanks for chipping in. It's good to have different personalities, different voices, different opinions, even if you are wrong. As what you call it, as part of the show. Nah, Joe, no, seriously, manners and respect. Thanks for being a part of it. Hope to have you on again next week or on future weeks or anytime you're available. People that have been watching on Facebook, manners and respect. People that might be watching on Twitch and now on YouTube, manners and respect. We shall be back this time, well, around about 9:30 next week. Lee, Lane, Nath, manners and respect. Bye bye.